Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the second part of the Governing Council orientation. You may recall that in March, we did an orientation where we covered the roles of the Governing Council and the position of the Governing Council within the association. And that recording is available to all governing councilors. Today, I'm very excited to welcome our parliamentarian, Greg Ullrich, who will be covering parliamentarian procedure as it relates to the Governing Council. As we discussed during the orientation, the Governing Council does operate under parliamentarian procedure. And as the parliamentarian, Greg is in a volunteer role where he really assists the speaker on matters of procedure, on questions that arise, and really serves as a wonderful resource to all of us in the Governing Council. So I'll turn it over to Greg now. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Greg Ullrich. I'm the parliamentarian. As our speaker, Aaron Guest, has introduced me. I just wanted to let you know that I was in governing council too, and I came from a state affiliate. So I've worked through that system and actually sat among the 200 or so that vote and voted. So I've had that perspective on parliamentary procedure. I'm an attorney, and I've also worked in different legislative bodies on these issues of parliamentary procedure. So the purpose of parliamentary procedure, obviously, when we have a large organization, national organization, nationally prominent organization to conduct our business, we have to follow procedures or there'd be chaos and we wouldn't be able to get anything done. So that's why we try to set up a framework for conducting business. So the purpose is obviously to facilitate the transaction of business of the American Public Health Association, which is a prominent and very important voice on public health matters. We want to also make sure that people cooperate and we have harmony when we conduct our business. Although we may have vigorous debate, we try to reach that goal. And we want to ensure that the councilors, who all have a vote, are respected and heard and able to debate and bring up their points as they debate and argue the issues that we face in governing council. Next slide, please. So there are different principles that are set up for parliamentary procedure. The councilors, they have equal rights, votes, so we have to follow rules for them to get their votes and make sure they're heard. And the speaker will always use the simplest, most direct procedure. That's our goal. We also want to use logical precedents, and you only consider one question at a time and make sure that the councilors are recognized to make their motions and how they're recognized, and we will go over that on this slide deck. You're not allowed to attack or question the motives of other councilors, and we really haven't had that much of a problem at APHA with that. And if it has been done, I don't think it was done with any intent to harm anybody, but you have to direct your remarks toward the speaker, not towards the other person. In voting, we always have to state what the question is, so we know what's before the body. And we have to know a yes vote means this, a nay vote means this before you vote. And if a person has a question on that, they should bring it up and make sure they know how they're voting. It can be kind of complicated sometimes, so we need to make that clear, and the speaker has a goal of making that clear when we vote on questions. And we will have an opportunity to debate. Debate time is not unlimited, which we'll discuss in the slide deck. So when you make a motion, obviously last year when we did it online, people had to do it from their home. So you didn't rise to go to the closest microphone there. But if we're in the hall, that's what we do. You're recognized by the speaker, state your name, just give some background on what section you're from, and then you state what your motion is. And the way you state that is say, Mr. Speaker, I move, and you move to what the motion would be. Another councilor would second the motion for it to be considered. The speaker restates the motion, and if the motion is voted on at that time, we'll say a yay vote means this for the motion, and a nay vote means this. And it can be restated, and it wouldn't be withdrawn unless someone makes that motion to withdraw. So when you second a motion, you rise and say, we second. It's pretty simple. The person can also remain seated to do that or rise. After making the motion, the person says, I move that, and then it's seconded. And then there are particular motions that are involved, like a motion to amend. We usually like to have those in writing, so the person would have to write out what they want to strike or insert or substitute the language that's been presented to the body. And then there are other different motions. For example, the amendment motion, you have to modify the wording. Usually someone will say a mistake, or there's something in research that they don't agree with, or it's not stated properly. Then they might ask to strike that. One advantage of technology is we can post the change they want, so everybody in the body can see it, everybody in the hall can see it. It'll be up in front of everyone. And then sometimes people make an amendment to the amendment because they want to further clarify the wording. And hopefully this makes the language better, stronger, more accurate. Most of the time, everyone agrees that should be. If they don't, we debate it, we vote on it to see if that's the proper language we want to put in. And then the other motion rules are, they're taken up in a specific order. The main motion's last. Some are debatable, some aren't. And we have a specific time limit. I wanted to focus on that specific time limit here for a moment. So in 1995, Governing Council passed a special time limit rule, which states at the end of 15 minutes of discussion, the speaker will poll the council as to whether it wishes to spend one or more additional 10-minute periods discussing the issue. And then these procedures have been in effect since '95 and are in effect until revoked by the council. So what that means is we have an automatic previous question rule in front of the APHA body. And the reason behind that is we only have a limited amount of time and we have to stay on schedule. If we don't stay on schedule, we don't get our work done, people miss flights, and things are never taken care of, the business isn't taken care of. So a previous motion rule, an automatic previous motion rule is you vote immediately. So after that time of debate, we vote immediately unless the body wants to debate for 10 minutes more. So hopefully I'll be the timekeeper for those motions if we have those motions and we have that limited time. If the council wants to debate more, another 10 minutes, we can renew in another 10 minutes. But I would call this an automatic previous question procedure that we follow so we can keep time and keep on time and finish in a timely manner. So the order of motions, specifically, some are debatable, some are undebatable. And some of these motions, I don't think APHA would ever have because the speaker is the one who would control it. Like speaker controls adjournment and recesses. Questions of privilege can be brought from the floor, not done very often. Calls for the order of the day, that's also something that's done by the speaker. Lay the question on the table, which is a permanent delay of the matter, can be brought up. Previous question we've already discussed. A previous question motion can be brought at any time, but we also have that automatic rule about debate and automatic previous question. Limited and extend debate is also part of that automatic rule. So those are undebatable, which kind of makes sense when you think about the previous motion and the limit extend debate. It's like, why would we debate something when we're trying to see if we're going to go any further or just go to the main question and have a vote? Some things are debatable, postponing to a certain time. If that is debatable. The amendment is what we would do most on the floor of APHA, and that's debated and discussed pretty thoroughly sometimes. We really don't commit things back to a committee. We don't postpone things indefinitely, although someone could make that motion. And then also you debate main motion, and that's the 15-minute debate limit would come in for main motion also, and amendment discussion. So I'd say in the debatable portion of that, the amend and the main motion are the most typical situations we'd face. So this is more about the 15-minute rule. The resolution, we don't really have resolutions, position papers, but we do have agenda items and reports. And it's 15 minutes discussion. I would focus that on saying a main question has 15 minutes of debate. And then it talks about the speaker's role then and whether we would vote. And what we do is do a very quick roll call vote electronically. It's a majority of the individuals or the majority of the members who are there. And it would be up or down. Do you want to debate 15 minutes more or not? And that would be voted right away without debate. If it's voted down that people don't want to debate it anymore, we go right to the vote, or we set the clock back at 10 more minutes of debate, and at that time to see if the debate needs to be extended anymore. We have motions to suspend the rules. Sometimes we'll have speakers who aren't members, and we suspend the rules, allow them to allow non-members to speak. A point of order, which is just really a way to say, hey, Mr. Speaker, what are we voting on? Is this the way it's done? Is this the question before us? You can appeal the ruling of the chair if you don't like how the speaker rules. We appeal the ruling of the chair, and that would be a very quick vote. We don't really do division of the assembly because unless the machine would break down. We could do it, but we use the voting machine, which is much faster and much more efficient than the division of the assembly. So when you debate, you wait to be recognized. You're only allowed to speak once, although some people want to come back up and speak again and ask to. And then you're supposed to address preceding councilors or address things to the chair when you are conducting debate. So references, we'll go to Robert's Rules of Order, which I was researching that a little bit, and that's more of a reference if we get stuck in any issue. It also shows some guidance for us. The Robert's Rules of Order is actually a over 633-page reference book that we'll look at if we need to, if we get stuck on some of the issues. The 12th edition is out now, I believe, in 2020. But there are other reference books, too, that we use. There's Robert's Rules of Order in brief, which we actually had in my library, and it's very helpful just to go through the basics of it and also how to make motions. And it's good to read it because it's also consistent with what we're doing. I made sure and check that. And the other volume we use is Mason's manual. That's a legislative manual that has a lot of the rules and a lot of explanation of what rules people have and the ideas and philosophy behind some of the rules and parliamentary procedures. So I think those are also helpful. Between the parliamentarian and the speaker, hopefully we can resolve a lot of these issues without going to Robert's Rules of Order. But if we need to do extra research, which we've done in the past, we can do that. Sometimes we have to research it to see how to pose a certain question before the body. That's where it's been most helpful. It's like, if we want to do this, how do we pose a certain question? In the packet that you have it's placed in the hall, when you sit there, there'll be a list of motions because I don't know if anybody has memorized those 13 motions, what order they're in, what's debatable and non-debatable. So we always have that reference too. So thank you very much, and I think that's all I have to say about parliamentary procedure at this time. If you have any questions for us, we get notes while we're up there. If people have questions, we're happy to receive those. Anything you think that'll help us or help our procedure, we'll welcome any comments.